Well, beautiful people, best damn nation. It is Wednesday, and you know what time it is. It is the best damn wrestling podcast. I am your humble host, Brown Renegade, and with me, I have the best damn crew. First of all, I got the chef of all chefs. He is a baking aficionado. We call him Senor Fuego, the one and only Chef. Showtime is in the building. What's happening, Chef?
What's good? What's good? How you fellas doing today?
Oh man, we good, brother. Blessed and highly favored, as the old folks would say. Oh man, listen. We have one of the best grapplers in wrestling. This man is a boxer. This man is a professional wrestler. This man is a whoop ass specialist. He's the green-eyed bandit. He's your mama's favorite wrestler. And he can whoop your daddy ass, Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews.
You know his mic is muted.
There you go. Say it again, Mr. Everything. Go ahead.
And I don't fight for free.
And I don't fight for free. We fight for munties around this box. Munties. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a best damn alum here in the building. He is the king of the meek freaks, the mushroom madman, the psychedelic sweetheart, the one and only Stephen Meeks is in the building.
How are y'all doing? How's everybody? I love y'all so big.
Wait. Hold on. This ain't the Stephen Meeks that we know. Stephen Meeks that we know is full of love and energy and joy and power and extreme. Listen, we know the
try this
Come on, Stephen Meeks. Here's what we want. Here's what we're looking for. Give us Stephen Meeks. Come on, Renegade. What? One more time for us, baby.
There's a hug.
Oh man,
A virtual hug for the world. Oh man, but yeah, that's fun.
the Hug Master is here. Oh man, spreading love, peace, and hair grease. You know what I'm saying to you, man. You know. Say that again. Go ahead.
Just loving people through wrestling, man. Just trying to make it through the holidays without putting too much weight on. You know, trying to stay looking fresh in my skivvies. You know, that I'll be performing in, and you know, all that good stuff. You know, trying to stay healthy, man. Trying to stay in His word, and you know, just keep remember the reason for the season and all that good stuff, and yeah.
Oh man, the meek master has spoken.
Yeah.
Beautiful people. Oh man, drop some love down in the comment box. Show some love. Welcome, best damn nation. If you guys are listening to us online on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, thank you for watching us. If you're listening to us in Radio Land on Spotify, Amazon Music, Pandora, wherever you get your wrestling content, you can check out the fellas at the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast and see what we got going. Let's go around the room real quick, check on everybody. Oh man, Chef Showtime, what's been going on with you, my brother?
Oh.
Unmute yourself, Chef. What's wrong?
You got to unmute yourself, Chef.
Let's hit Victor. I think Chef is.
Yeah, then we'll come back around. Victor Andrews, what's happening, my brother?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Got some big things happening in 2024 already. So I'm ready to, see what this new year's going to do for us, man. I mean, I'm excited. You excited? I'm excited.
I'm excited, man. You told us some news off camera, man. I want you to. I don't know if it's too early to break the news to the best damn nation, man, but I think it might be interesting.
Yeah,
way too early.
No, we're gonna wait.
We ain't gonna talk about it right now.
Yeah, wait till we get the things in our grasp. Yeah. You gotta coordinate. You gotta coordinate.
We don't talk about Bruno too early. Yeah, we ain't talking about Bruno right now. All right, well, but Mr. Everything got some big news. So follow him on all his social medias so you can see what he got going on in this big announcement that we're gonna drop, you know what I'm saying, for the people. But now we got to go to the king of the meat freaks. Stephen Meeks, what you got going on, my brother?
Not a whole lot. We got a big show this weekend, United Pro Wrestling in Raleigh, North Carolina. We got Love and War. Me and my best friend on the planet Earth, Grant Watts, are gonna. I think he's finally come around to loving people through wrestling. All right, it took him a while. He kind of was standoffish with Stephen Meeks at first, but watch. I mean, we got the W last time, so like this time, watch Love and War go into the match, with good vibes, and we are gonna prove that the top shooters ain't nothing. We're going to run right through them, and we're going to prove that Trey Derula shoots blanks. You feel me?
Shots fired!
Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Trey Derula? So, anyways, yeah. So, yeah. And then we got the holidays coming in, which is awesome. I love holiday music. I love the Michael Bublé and all that crooner stuff, and remembering the reason for the season and loving people and yeah, I'm doing well. I'm super blessed.
Oh man, I love to hear that. Is this your first time really being in a tag team kind of setting, or?
Yeah, Grant Watts is kind of like my first real, this is like the first tag avenue. I want to invest more time and money into this because I think Grant and I and Love and War as a concept has some legs, and I think we complement each other really well. I mean, Grant Watts is pure heart Grant Watts. He's pure fire. He's just an ornery little feller, and I'm laid back, and we both love technical wrestling. So I think him and I are definitely going to do more stuff in the future with UPW and beyond.
Oh man, that's awesome. Could we ever see a possible tag team match with Stephen Meeks and Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews? Is that something that wets your whistle?
So since the last time that I've been on here, Victor Andrews and I have wrestled.
Yeah. Let's talk about that real quick.
Listen, I'm gonna peel back the curtain a little bit, and I'm gonna say, we had so much fun, and we just decided we had made up our minds that we were like, all right, you're gonna be Victor Andrews, and I'm gonna be Stephen Meeks, and we're gonna may the best man win and all that good stuff, and you can't beat experience and time in. So I'll wear my. I'll take my L respectfully. I learned a lot, and I had a lot of fun. So, Victor's still the freaking SCC champion or whatever. That's cool. That's fine. It is what it is. Is
it fine? Is it what it is?
Uncle Vic, it's okay. You got. But I wrestled Victor Andrews, and I lived. All right, and I didn't complain about it. All right, I said I had fun. Everybody else is scared of this man right here, But I would wrestle Victor any day of the week. I had a blast. Yeah, that was fun.
Well, listen, man, I didn't call you the mushroom madman for no reason. You know what I'm saying? He gets it in. Yeah. Oh man. Mr. Everything, talk about that match real quick that you had with Stephen Meeks, man. And do you see a possible opportunity for you guys to maybe tag one day in the ring?
Man, I'm a firm believer that everything is possible, which is why I am Mr. Everything. I do see that happening. And I can make that happen. And all we need is a tag team that's willing to step in the ring with us and to be able to combat what we have to offer. And I don't think there is many tag teams out there that can combat what we have to offer. I don't care if you're in the majors or in the minors or just getting started or have been doing it for a very long time or retired. There isn't a tag team that can really step in the ring with us and say, you know what? I was confident that I could beat them. Now they're going to come in like, I'm not too sure, and I'm going to give it all I got. I know all I got ain't enough. I'm going to need a little bit more. But daggone it, hopefully I'll live. Like Steve Meeks said, when he got done, he said, I wrestled Victor Andrews and lived. And everybody else is like, man, I ain't doing that again. That's exactly how it's going to be if they step in there with Victor Andrews and Steven Meeks. Psychedelic everything, baby.
Everything is
Yeah,
psychedelic.
I don't like that. Yeah, psychedelic everything. I like that. Everything's psychedelic. You can go both ways.
I love it. I'll even say a name that if we're gonna make it happen, I want it to happen against the sports entertainment empire. I want it to happen against James Johnson and Drew Hood because those cats are tearing it up, and I got a little chip on my shoulder with James Johnson. So let's.
I tell you what, this is what I'm gonna do. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm also watching the live on Facebook. So those that are watching on Facebook right now from the Best Damn Nation, make sure you drop your comments and everything. And check out this comment I'm getting ready to post in the chat right now. I'm getting ready to tag James Johnson and Drew Hood and tell them, if you want it, come get it.
Come get it. Rob, watch the DVR. Bro, rewind. Let's get it.
All right. Well, listen, that's going to be interesting, fellas, and I can't wait to see it. We got a special guest in the building. I want Mr. Everything to do the honors, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, I don't care if you have been in wrestling, been watching wrestling since 1922, or you've been watching this as of yesterday, you are going to know who this man is. You should know who this man is. This man is a legend. He does not get the credit that he so deserves. He is my brother, my family, one of the forefathers of Control Your Narrative, one of the best cruiserweights, one of the best technical wrestlers ever to step foot in the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Austin Aries.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody?
What's up?
What's going on, my brother?
Not much, man.
What's going on here? We got a new look. What's happening?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I did a little bit of shave the other day. Every once in a while, hair's growing out a little bit, so kind of circa 2008, 2009 Austin Aries look here. So, I got the John Stamos thing going. I'm being told. So
look, when you first came on, I was like, wait, we had Austin Aries, not John Stamos. But hey, it works. Hey, celebrity is a celebrity. It works, right?
Yeah, man.
How you
good. This is quite a full house here, guys. How's it going? A lot of people here.
Oh, pretty good, man. Pretty good. Oh, man, listen, we are happy to have you on here, my brother. It is an absolute pleasure to have a legend like yourself in the building, man. Let's go ahead and get started, man. So let's just start like nobody knows you. They're you're just being introduced for the first time, man.
Sure.
I think the first question that I want to ask is, when did you first fall in love with wrestling?
1982. Yeah, I was 4 years old. Up to that point in my life, I was really gravitating towards the Army, the military. My grandfathers had served, my uncles had served. I had all the G.I. Joe toys. And then one day I turned on the television on a Saturday morning and I saw AWA wrestling. I grew up in just outside of Milwaukee. So AWA wrestling. And man, from the moment I saw it, it grabbed me. And that was it. All the G.I. Joe toys went away. And I started collecting all the old Remco AWA action figures. And started really this, I called it my secret passion because, back then you didn't really tell people that you liked pro wrestling. It wasn't exactly cool, but yeah, man, that was it. From 82 on, pro wrestling was my thing. And, I grew up watching the Crockett era and the Horsemen and Dusty and 505 on TBS. Learned to hate the Atlanta Braves because they'd preempt the show sometimes Saturday nights, because they're baseball games. But yeah, that was really the beginning of the love affair.
Oh man, that's awesome. Let me ask you a question. Were your parents supportive of you pursuing wrestling as a career?
I left for college at 17, stood on my own 2 feet. Never really hid anything from my parents from that point on because I was paying my bills, taking care of myself and kind of my own man. And I was really lucky that they've always supported me in whatever. I've always been an outside the box kind of guy. If you asked me as a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I don't know. I just don't want to be like anybody else around me because that life didn't seem like it was making anybody happy, man. So I've always kind of zigged when people zagged and kind of marched to the beat of my own drum, so to speak. And, I've been supportive that, my parents always supported me. They believed in me and just kind of let me do my thing.
That's awesome, man. Talk about you growing up in Milwaukee. I know that you are a big Bucks fan, and you also, like the Milwaukee teams like Green Bay and the Brewers, if I'm not mistaken. What does it mean to be from Milwaukee and to be one of the people that made it out of Milwaukee?
Growing up for me is just I call it the Midwest charm, right? You kind of have that middle class, blue collar type of growing up. And I grew up an athlete, growing up, the Packers was kind of a religion in my family on Sundays. I grew up a baseball player, went to college to play baseball as a center fielder and left-handed pitcher. Was way too tall for basketball, so I kind of gave that up. But that was a joke, but yeah, man. I just, once I had the opportunity, I knew I wanted to travel. I wanted to get out of the Midwest. I wanted to see the rest of the country. And when I did that, and that was after a couple of years of trying the college thing and realized it wasn't for me. And once I got out and started meeting people from other parts of the country that had different thoughts on, what life was like, it really just opened everything up for me. I realized, wow, like, there's so much opportunity in this life and we don't want to shortchange ourselves by boxing ourselves in anywhere. And so I remember this vision. I actually was thinking about this the other day. I was in Lake Havasu and I just got my tattoo. It was my 22nd birthday. We traded a guy a 2-foot bong. The guy I was traveling with, his company did custom blown glass pieces for different bands and things like that. So it was my birthday, and we met this guy who was a tattoo artist. This guy was like, hey, it's my bro's birthday, man. Like, we want to get him some ink. Like, what if I trade you this sick piece for it? And so, but the next day we were out on this boat on Lake Havasu. And I remember just sitting there, and actually my hair was kind of getting long at the time. And it was just like this aha moment of like, man, like there's so much out there, but you have to go out and explore it. You have to go experience it. If you sit in your cube all day and you can experience it through a screen, but that ain't the real thing, Yeah. And and that's what I just knew. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something different than the people I've grown up around. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I felt like there was something different for me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Listen,
quick,
go ahead, Mr. Green.
Let's dive in. So, professional wrestling. Your first experience, what was that like stepping into a ring, training in that moment, and what was going through your mind as you was having that moment? Because a lot of professional wrestlers now, especially on the indies, when we had that first moment, we're like, either wow, I can't believe I'm doing this, or damn it, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
So what was your moment? Was you like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually doing it, or damn it, I'm about to go home because I can't believe I'm trying to do this?
Well, so when I broke in 2000, so this predates social media. and Instagram and YouTube and all these things. So even Google search engines, all this. So you couldn't just find wrestling schools by going on the internet and looking it up. It was kind of, you had to know somebody who knew somebody or had a connection somewhere, right? It was a little more, I'll say protected, but in a way, right? They protected the business a little more than we do now. And so I was actually getting ready to move out to Lake Havasu. I was having a great time out there doing some extracurricular activities, and because I wanted to get out of Minnesota, where I'd been, after going to college there for a couple of years. And I had my car packed up and I was ready to move out. And a childhood friend of mine called up and told me he was training to be a pro wrestler up in Minneapolis. And I remember saying, I was like, what do you mean? Like, what, you go to like a wrestling college? Like kind of being a smart ass. He's like, well, no, there's a school up here with Eddie Sharkey, who I knew the name immediately because Eddie Sharkey trained the Road Warriors and Rick Rude and Barry Darsow and had a hand in a lot of those guys that broke out of the Midwest area. So I knew the name. And so I said, all right, man, I'm not saying I don't believe it, but I got to check this out for myself. So I drove up a couple hours and it was a small ring, 16-foot ring, low boy, set up in this little garage. And it was another trainer, Terry Fox, who was kind of the in-ring guy at the time. And it was in his garage. And I remember walking in, there's these two guys in the ring going through some drills. And like, it was just like my eyes were like, what? Like, this is a real thing. Like, holy shit. It was like, and it was like the clouds parted, like the light came down and shined. And I was like, and not to be too arrogant, but I was watching these guys for a couple minutes. I was like, man, I know I could do it better than those guys. Like, so I went to Terry and I said, hey, Terry, can I just get in the ring for just a minute just to see what it's like? He said, nope, absolutely not. It's $3,000 and you got to sign a waiver. And I'm like, oh man, I got like $500 to my name at the time, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, Terry, I got $500. I said, I'll give you half of it right now and I'll pay you every week until this is paid off. And he's looking at me, he's like, Terry, to give you Terry's like 5'9", like 220, kind of little belly and the mustache, the Horace Hogan, who, the little fat cheeks, great guy. And he looks at me, he squints, he goes, let me think about it for a minute. So he goes, he kind of like leaves me hanging there. About 30 minutes later, he's like, so you really want to do this, huh? I was like, Terry, I've never wanted to do anything more than this in my life. And he's just looking at me, he's looking me up and down. He goes, okay, you got yourself a deal. And I was like, what? So I went and asked my buddy, I was like, hey man, can I move up on your couch? And he's like, yeah, sure. And that was it. So instead of going to Lake Havasu, I drove up 2 hours to Minneapolis, plopped on my buddy's couch. I started giving plasma twice a week to make money. I started working temp jobs at 5 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there was no GoFundMe. I had to go fund myself. I could just ask for handouts. But it didn't matter. I was getting to chase something I didn't think was even possible, right? And so, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'd get there, I'd leave about 9 p.m. I was first one there, last one to leave, go work my job in the morning and just, a lot of us, I mean, at that age, I'm 22 at the time, fresh out of dropping out of college going, what am I going to do with my life? And a lot of people don't get lucky enough to find their calling, to find that thing that lights them up, right. That, people go, man, you put in so much work. You were really dedicated. And it never felt like work because the fact I got to go train these 3 days a week and do this, whatever else I had to do on the side to facilitate doing this, never felt like work. And that was it, man. I trained for about 6 months, had my first match, and then just started, spreading out, branching out over 4 years. There was no YouTube, you couldn't connect through the internet. You had to like actually drive to shows and network and give people VHS tapes you knew they'd never watch unless they were drunk after a show and they wanted to laugh at people, but that's how you got your name out there. It's how you did it.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that you did touch on that a lot of people don't realize. It's the hustle and bustle and all the extra stuff that you had to do to fund this opportunity to do it, like selling, like getting plasma and getting a little odds and ends jobs. Like everybody think that as soon as you become a professional wrestler, you're making millions and millions of dollars. But No, we're spending millions and millions of dollars to be able to do
Yeah.
this crazy thing that we do every week to entertain people. So that's very good. I appreciate you bringing that up. But really quick, before we move on, I know Brian has another question, and we're gonna let some of the other guys, introduce themselves and ask another question. What is going on with that picture behind you? Like, you got to tell me what.
Oh man. So I've had this picture. This picture was in my attic when I was growing up as a kid, and my uncle was an art teacher, and he painted this. And I took this off to college with me, and this is one of the few things it's been with me ever since. I had it reframed a number of years back, and it's just a cool piece, man. And it's from the family and staying in the family. And so I just wherever I go, this picture is always the piece that gets put up first. Yeah,
absolutely. And, it reminds me of before you actually pulled it up, I was thinking the crypt that they kept Jesus in, and they pulled the rock back. Stephen will attest to this. When they pulled the rock back, and that's all you saw was that empty cave that he walked out of. So that's what grabbed my attention. But I love it. I love the whole family aspect of it and the history.
Man, thank you,
Brian. What you got?
Oh man, let's talk about your time in Ring of Honor, man. Let's talk about that experience of the Ring of Honor, the different types of Ring of Honors that you've been a part of, right? The different regimes. Can we talk about that real quick? Your time in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I remember one day a friend of mine, Eric, we were always the guys that were working together in the ring, and he sent me this press release about this new promotion starting up called Ring of Honor and what they were going to be about. And I remember writing them back like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. But that was the place to go, right? That's where, like, once Vince bought WCW, there was a vacuum, and something had to fill the void, and Ring of Honor was the thing to kind of fill that void. The indies, and now with tape trading and diehard wrestling fans could start watching different stuff from different places. And, Ring of Honor, that was basically how their business model started. They were a tape trading company, right? And they realized pretty soon, instead of grabbing all these, footage from other companies, they could just start their own and sell their own footage, right? And sell their own DVDs. And that was really the idea. And it was to grab the best local independent guys from all the different local areas and bring them into one promotion. So, you get to a point, and I tell all these wrestlers that have aspirations of making it to the big time, you're going to get to a point where you're the best guy in your area, in your little region. And now you're the guy that all the other guys are working to get better. But that's when you need to leave. And that's when you need to go somewhere else. And so for me, having the opportunity to get in the ring with the CM Punks and the Bryan Danielsons and the Samoa Joes and all these guys that were the best guys from their area were all now converging here to Ring of Honor. That's where you get to test yourself, and you start to really grow as a performer and to kind of see where you're at. And now I'm getting in the ring with guys better than me that I can learn from, after being maybe the guy that was in the other position. So, had the opportunity to break in there, and, drove like 16 hours out in a van full of guys for my do or die match. Did basically every move I could think of that I had in my arsenal at the time, because I, didn't know how to work it yet. I just knew how to do stuff. But my stuff was so cool that they wanted to bring me back. And and so I moved out to Philadelphia. And this is something else I tell people. I've moved probably 30 times in my life. I go to where the opportunity is. I'm going to go to the opportunity. I'm not going to wait for the opportunity to come to me. So once I knew, and Gabe Sapolsky told me he was interested in using me, I said, let me make it easy for you. And I'm just going to move out to Philadelphia, East Coast. So it's going to reduce my travel, reduce expenses, and just make me right there. And eventually that, I think, helped lead me to running the Ring of Honor school a couple years later, because I was there. I was right there. So, but yeah, you had the Gabe Sapolsky Ring of Honor, which was kind of the original, iteration of it. And always grateful for Gabe to put me in the position he did, to give me the opportunity to, get in the ring with Samoa Joe at Final Battle. Winning the ROH title at that time really put my name on the map. Thanks to everything Joe had done before that, it really thrust me into the spotlight. And that could have been anybody. That could have been Alex Shelley. That could have been Roderick Strong. That could have been any number of 12 guys, 15 guys on the roster deserved that spot. I was grateful enough to get the opportunity. And so for that, I was extremely loyal to Gabe and to Ring of Honor. And so when Gabe was let go, it was really difficult for me, because I was really, I was in the office a lot, spent a lot of time with him. I was loyal to him for the opportunity he'd given me. And, there was a bit of a regime change. And with that, came a little bit of friction. People are trying to take control. Different people are trying to work their way in. Jim Cornette ends up in there. Adam Pearce is in control for a while. There was this weird transition part where I was asked to be kind of a locker room leader, but nobody was really told that I was a locker room leader, and I wasn't given the information to be a locker room leader. And it was just, it was trying to figure these things out as all these moving pieces. And, I was at odds with some of the things that were changing with the new management, the general manager who didn't have any connections to wrestling. And so it did lead to a little bit of some issues after the Gabe regime, bringing in Jim Cornette. And so, I'm sure everyone here's, heard Jim Cornette's opinions on me. But it was a difficult time, transition for the company, myself personally, and things were changing. And because it had to change, because Ring of Honor's original concept was everyone go out there and try to have the best match of the night, and the cream will rise to the top. And when you don't have a roster, that's a good way to build a roster. But once you have a roster, now we need to work together as a team, right? It's like a baseball team. If everyone's going up there swinging for the fences and nobody's trying to take a walk or get on base for the guys behind them, it's maybe not the most efficient way to have a team. And I think pro wrestling's the same way. We want to build a card. We want to make sure that we're being respectful to the people after us, to other people before us, not doing the same things. And so the philosophy changed a little bit, I think, for the better when Adam got in there, because now that we had a crew and we were kind of a big family, let's not work against each other, because we have so many talented guys and women in there. We could all go out there and steal the show any night. I can loop false finishes for 30 minutes any night I want once you know the formula. So that's not magic. So it's about understanding your role on the card for that night and delivering in that role. Because if you're the main event, you don't want the guy that's going on second or third to be taking all the things that you want to use later for that epic main event, right? So I think that's sometimes where we get in the indies a lot. We're all kind of being a little selfish, and we have to be a little selfish in this industry. But I think once you have a roster, that's when you can start working together, building cards collectively, and making sure that we're putting on the best show that we can for the fans.
What do you think about this new Ring of Honor product under the directive of Tony Khan and AEW? Do you like the way that Ring of Honor is being treated? And you mentioned Jim Cornette. He has some. A lot of people have some things to say about this new Ring of Honor and what they think about it, and if it's growing or if it's a money pit. You know what I'm saying? Right. In a lot of ways. What do you feel about this new Ring of Honor product that you're seeing?
Well, I'll have to be honest. I don't really watch a lot of wrestling anymore, and I really haven't for a number of years. Like, it's somewhere along the way, and I know this might hurt some people's feelings. I apologize. But I kind of fell out of love with wrestling as a fan. It became my job. Right. It became my job, and you start to watch it differently. Right. So the fandom kind of disappeared. And so I don't keep up. It's not something I do in my spare time or watch. I keep up enough to be educated. I've caught some things here and there that have interested me, watched a few things. But I would just say that really, if you look at the current style of wrestling, that's Ring of Honor. In every company, in every promotion, this attention to motion and maybe forgetting about emotion, but we're focused on the motion, the move, the spot. That's what we ushered in. Sorry, guys. We kind of messed it up a little bit. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just stealing the Super Junior stuff that we were seeing on tapes from Japan and then doing it over here for the first time. Everyone thought it was new, but it was stuff that Dynamite Kid and Tiger Mask have been doing for 10, 15 years at that point, right? But we hadn't seen it in the States yet because everything here was big heavyweight style. So now you get guys that are starting to do what we'll call work rate nowadays, right? And so the influence of Ring of Honor from the original Ring of Honor is what we see in wrestling today. And it is what's on TV, no matter what promotion you watch. If you go and you watch early Ring of Honor, that's what's translated. So I haven't watched enough of the new Ring of Honor to be able to compare it to anything else. Do I think it's a money pit? I don't know. I think from what I've gathered, Tony got a really good deal on the sale of Ring of Honor, and with that, he got a lot of footage of a lot of people who have made a lot of money in this business. So I'm sure, Tony's a pretty smart businessman, and even if Ring of Honor's not turning a profit from events or things of that sort, I would like to think that the video library in and of itself is so extremely valuable. Along those lines, I have almost a DVD of every show I was ever on for like 6, 7, 8 years. I have like a collection of like a couple hundred DVDs, a lot of them still in their plastic, and I'm getting ready to put them up for sale. And I think, what a great collector's item for people who really want the history of Ring of Honor. You look at the names that were on there, and for me, it's sitting in my storage unit, and I would much rather find a home for it to someone who would really, really appreciate it. And so, probably sometime in 24, we'll put some kind of auction up or offer this up my personal collection for sale. I think it'd be pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. You faced a lot of competitors during your time in Ring of Honor. Who do you see as one of your favorite matches, in the Ring of Honor during that time?
I think one of my favorite, and I'll just even extend it to one of my favorite programs, was with Jimmy Jacobs. And for a lot of my tenure in Ring of Honor, I was the good match guy, the wrestling machine. I didn't really bite into a lot of storyline outside of great matches, And so with the Jimmy Jacobs feud, I got to start really layering some storyline. And we had, a dog collar match that I loved. It finished in an I Quit match, which I hadn't really done those type of matches before. So it was something different for me. Working with Jimmy was a different psychology. It wasn't about our spots. It was about the emotion, not the motion. And it helped me grow as a performer and as an actor, which is what we are. We're actors, right? And so it allowed me to tap into that a little more and the emotion, which I hadn't done. So that was one of my favorite programs, obviously, listen, any match with Bryan Danielson or Samoa Joe or, these guys, of course, they're going to be great matches. Of course, they're memorable. Those are guys that are, elite talent, right? So, but that Jimmy Jacobs feud to me was something that stuck out as different, that really elevated me in a different way.
Awesome. I'd love to hear that. Let me ask you another question, man. You are one of the first, if not the first, Grand Slam champion in Impact Wrestling and TNA history. Let's talk about your time in Impact Wrestling. What was that like being on the early cusp of Impact Wrestling at that time with TNA?
Yeah, TNA. Very interesting transitioning from Ring of Honor, where I was, positioned as a top guy, and then going to TNA and feeling like they were kind of pigeonholing me as a cruiserweight and reducing my money that I had been making to kind of put me at the same tier as the guys in that division. And I didn't accept it very well, and it led to some friction there. I felt I was capable to be running with the AJ Styles and the Christopher Daniels and Samoa Joe, which at the time they were doing those 3-way matches, which were lighting the house on fire. And I thought there was some natural storylines with my history with Joe that, they could have given me the opportunity to bring me in there. And we just had a disagreement in that. And it also was my first taste of what was a more corporate setting of wrestling, as they were kind of trying to be like poor man's WWE in the way they did their business, the way they treated their talent. And, if I wanted a corporate job, I would have gotten to any business other than pro wrestling. If I wanted to be if I wanted to be owned, if I wanted to be told, what to say, how to dress, how to act, it's not me, man. It's not me. So, there was an adjustment period there, and maybe at the time didn't adjust as well as I would have liked to. And also just kind of had to put my foot down. And I think sometimes in this business, man, you have to stick up for yourself. If not, sometimes guys get walked over. I always have a joke with Jerry Lynn, and Jerry Lynn is known as the nicest man in pro wrestling ever. Everybody loves Jerry Lynn. And I said, Jerry, you know what? Jerry, if you had a little more Austin Aries in you and Austin Aries had a little more Jerry Lynn in him, we both would have made a lot more money. you know, because Jerry was a guy who maybe, you know, if he would have stood up for himself and maybe said no a little more and wasn't as nice, he had all the talent, he had all the tools. This guy was amazing, right? But in this business, you will get chewed up and spit out, and you will get walked on if you don't stand up for yourself sometimes, you know, and that doesn't always, you know, that can make you difficult to work with, you know. So be it. I'll say though is that when I came back after kind of leaving there, you know, that's what led to my world title win, and subsequent title wins after that. And I often wonder if I hadn't been a pain in the ass and kind of put my foot down and fought for myself, would that have ever happened? I don't know, you know. So it was a great learning experience. It was now really doing television wrestling, which was different than what I had been doing. And I was getting to work with now guys that, you know, had been to the dance, had been to WWE, some real big name guys. And, you know, it was a great learning experience and a lot of fun. And I'm excited that they're bringing TNA back. There's a lot of history there. And, you know, who knows? Maybe that opens the door for Austin Aries' return.
I would love that, sir.
That would be
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Real quick question. You mentioned that you had to go through a lot of changes, you know, and then I can understand that as a professional wrestler myself. From your start in 2000 to now, what would you say was the most difficult change that you had to go through in terms of different locker rooms that you've been in, from the big leagues to the independents? Like, what would be the biggest change that you had to go through personally as for yourself?
Well, I mean, the biggest change for me wrestling wise was, you know, going to WWE, that schedule was unlike anything I had done. You know, with the TNA schedule, we would film over a weekend. You know, we would do maybe 2 or 3 days and film TV. And then I'd be off for a couple of weeks or maybe have some indie shows. So I had a lot more time at home during the week to train and to eat right and things like that. When you get to WWE, you're on the road all week. And then you might, you know, I was home for like 36 hours every week. And then I was back on the road. That was a difficult adjustment because I used to like take a couple days off from training when I filmed TV and then work my ass off during the week. And now with WWE, you got to work out on the road. You got to eat on the road. You know, you got to do everything on the road. And then when you're home, you're just literally there to recharge to go do it again. And, you know, went from NXT to getting hurt and then going to commentary to the main roster. I never really settled into a routine. And that's, I think for me, I gained just another level of respect for the guys and the girls that have been able to do that and sustain that lifestyle for decades, you know, and these guys like the Seth Rollins and the Kevin Owens and these guys that have been on top for a while. Obviously the John Cena's, Roman Reigns, like the schedule alone, you know, is unlike anything else in probably most sports or entertainment. So that was an adjustment for me for sure.
So in terms of
good.
Okay. So in terms of the rigorous schedule, and we talk about this all the time, and some of the guys kind of give us heat about it. When you see guys like Roman Reigns or like John Cena when he was there in The Rock, and it would take these longevity times off of TV with the championship, even Brock Lesnar would take all these times off. How do you feel in terms of like, do you feel like that's what they needed because of the rigorous schedule, right? Like you would say, like because they're taking these times off of TV, probably to revamp a new storyline, probably revamp a new character. When, you know, John Cena would go from the Thugonomics to, you know, what he went to after that. Would you attest to that? Is because of the rigorous schedule that they have to have all the time, to the point where they got into the championship, they're like, okay, I need some time off?
I think it's that. I think it's also just a good business decision, right? It's like, you know, you guys follow the NBA, you know, the big discussion is load management, right? You want to sit your stars to keep them healthy for the stuff that really matters. And so, you know, once these guys have kind of earned their stripes, and now that these guys are a real valuable asset to the company, do we want to kind of run that asset into the ground all week when we really need them for SummerSlam? We really need them for WrestleMania. We really need them for the Royal Rumble. We really need them for Monday Night Raw. But if I send them on the road all week to Spokane and to here to there, you know, there's a point where that's not a good business move. because this is my most valuable asset, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the most out of my valuable assets. So really, we all got to do the grind. And then, those guys that get to have those kind of schedules, it's because they earned it. It's because they did the grind until they got to that level to where like, okay, we're going to protect you now as one of our top assets. Now we only need you here. And again, back in the day, I might see Ric Flair on television every Saturday night, but I never saw him wrestle on Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
You hardly ever saw the champ wrestle on television. So I think there's something to that. You overexpose a guy, it's not special. If I see him every week, it's not special. So I think there's, creatively it makes sense. And from a business point, it makes a lot of sense.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Let me ask you a question. Out of all the companies that you've worked for, who do you feel like treated the character Austin Aries like the superstar that you feel like?
Listen, TNA put their title on me multiple times. Ring of Honor put their title on me multiple times. That helped kind of establish me as a top guy. And listen, at the end of the day, it's not real. And when I say it's not real, just because I'm, as I said earlier, there's a dozen guys that are at the same level as far as a performer that we could make the champion, that could be the champion, right? So, are we superstars? Are we this big deal? We're in this bubble, this made up bubble that's not real, right? It's fictitious land, but yet somehow we walk around like it's reality. And it's, I've had a kind of a bit of an awakening the last few years as I kind of stepped out of the wrestling bubble for the first time in my adult life, and I completely disconnected from it. And I had to figure out who Daniel was, right? Not Austin Aries. You got to think at 22 years old, who knows who they are as a person? We're still trying to figure that out. Now you get in this world where you get to take on this persona, and right, you get to play this character, and then you start getting notoriety and making money and fame, and now you start really believing it. I'm Austin Aries. I'm the champion of this. I'm Austin Aries. I'm a world champion. I'm a superstar. Man, are you? Are you really? Right? So,
right.
Me stepping away from wrestling a few years ago was like my first opportunity to go, wait a second. If or when all that goes away, who's Daniel? Right? Who's that guy? What's that guy about? What motivates that guy? What lights that guy up? What's important to that guy? And it's allowed me to see wrestling in a much different light, which has been very helpful as I've returned to this, to do it a little differently and put things in a little better perspective. So, at the end of the day, I've been very grateful for the opportunities I've been given. And, most of the companies, I've been very grateful that most of the companies that I've been a part of have all treated me very well and given me opportunities to be valuable for that company. And that's really what it's about. Where can I bring value? How can I be most valuable for my team? Is it sitting on the bench and being a good cheerleader? There's guys like that too sometimes, that 12th guy on the bench. Milwaukee Bucks, they got Giannis's brother Thanasis sitting there in the last bench seat. Why? Because he's great in the locker room. He's great for their superstar. He's not out there to put up 20 points and 10 rebounds. So I think it's about understanding, like, there's different ways to be valuable to the team. It doesn't always have to be as the guy getting his arm raised in the main event. That's the spot we all want to get to, sure. But there's so many other places we can be valuable in this business. So, just figure out where your value is and focus on the value, and everything else will come, I believe.
And to that comment, everyone wants to get to the main event and have their hand raised and be the guy. Not everyone has the ability to sustain that level to being the guy. Like, we can all get there, like you said, we can all get there, but can you continue to be that guy? Because there's always someone that's either better or is just as good, but has something different to offer. So in the times of your career from different companies, outside of being the technician that you are, one of the greatest wrestlers out there, what more did you see that you had to offer instead of being the guy that can get in the ring with anybody?
Well, no, but I think that is the best thing you can offer is a guy who can get in the ring with anybody. And I think one thing that I prided myself on is you can put me in the opener and I can give you that X Division fast cruiserweight style match. You can put me in the main event with a guy that's 100 pounds bigger than me, and I can give you a match that feels like a main event feel match. I can do a comedy match. I can do a bloody match, I quit match. I always prided myself on having range as a performer and not, I can only do this. I can only do tag wrestling. I can only do comedy. I can only do flips and hurricanranas. When I was training, I don't think I realized yet how small I was in the business, but I just remember not wanting to learn leg scissors takeovers or hurricanranas because I was like, I don't want to be pigeonholed as a cruiserweight. Like, I'm a wrestler, right? And so the guys I watched, the Dynamite Kids and the Chris Benoits and the Chris Jerichos and the Eddie Guerreros, yeah, they weren't the biggest guys, but goddamn, they worked like they were. And so those were the influences on me to say, well, that's what I want to be like too. I want to be like, because all I have to do as a performer in this business when I step in the ring is I have to create just a little bit of doubt or a little bit of belief, right? What I mean by that is if I step in the ring with Samoa Joe, they're going to look, and for just a moment, I have to make them believe, he's not the biggest guy, but I don't know, man. Like, look at that look in his eyes. Look at that explosiveness, right? I think I whipped that guy's ass, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to try him. That's all you got to do. And it's just about the way you carry yourself. It's about the energy you carry yourself with. It's about presence. It's one thing I try to tell guys. It's about anything else than having a presence and the way you carry yourself, And so if you want to be a top guy and you want to be a guy that is believable to step in the ring with a guy that's much larger than you or better than you or faster than you or more technical than you, then you have to find something in you that makes the people believe for just a little bit. I think that guy can do it, And so that's what I always tried to do, make them believe just a minute. Yeah, he's not the biggest guy, but I don't think I'd fuck with him. Excuse my language.
Oh, no, you're fine, man.
Oh,
You're good.
Good.
I got a question about, it seems like you've really made some lifestyle choices. For your mental health, for your physical health. I know one of the things that you are known for, you are the vegan vigilante in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? Talk about veganism real quick and how turning vegan changed some things in your life.
Yeah, man. We said really quickly. If you know me, that's not a quick.
Nah, go ahead, bro. Take your time.
So when people hear veganism, they think it's a diet choice, right? They think veganism is about not eating certain foods. And veganism really at its core is about the choice of every living being that we meet, every living entity, sentient being that feels, that thinks, that has a thought, has an emotion. When we come in contact with it, we have the opportunity to do one of two things. We can bring it pleasure or we can bring it pain, right? We can add to its joy or to its suffering. So veganism at its core is just a decision that I made that I don't want to be contributing to the suffering, to the abuse, and to the slaughter of other living creatures that think and feel like I do. And animals think and feel like I do. And I wouldn't want to abuse and slaughter my dog. Why then is it okay if it's instead of a DOG, it's a PIG? It's okay to contribute to the abuse and the slaughter of a pig. Because it tastes good? It doesn't really taste good. If meat tasted good, we just boil it in water and eat it, right? But we don't. We spice it, we sauce it, we rub it, right? Like, it's the flavors we put on the meat. So the meat, and then again, it's not about a necessity then. That's just a choice for your taste buds, because I'm living proof you don't need to eat animals to survive. I haven't had an animal in over 20 years, 23 years now. No animals. I haven't died yet. I haven't withered away. I haven't, had protein and malnutrition, deficiency. So, but veganism isn't about the diet. It's about going through my life, consciously making a decision and being aware of what I'm contributing to in this world and saying, you know what, I can do better. And I don't want to contribute to the suffering of other things that feel pain. Now, by proxy, that means I don't eat them because that's what we do in this society, right? But I even go a step further. You say, how does that help me? Well, the old adage is you are what you eat, right? We've all heard that phrase. Mm-hmm. So we all agree, like everything's made of energy, right? And emotion is energy, right? And you can feel the difference of energies like anger and fear and sadness and depression and stress. Like those are very dense, heavy energies. And then like joy and happiness and laughter and love. Those are these high vibrational energies up here, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now you are what you eat. Now think of the life of that animal, that short life of that animal is spent here. It's in fear, terror, stress, anger. It knows what's going to happen to it. It's being led to slaughter. It knows what's happening around it. So that energy, that low vibrational dense energy is trapped in that being, gets slaughtered, and now you eat that as nourishment. So you are what you eat. You're eating low vibrational energy. Fruit, high vibrational energy. It's the direct transfer from the sun. Drops, offers itself up. Nothing had to die. You eat the flesh, you spit the seed, and more fruit grows. I really believe after 20 years of really intensely looking into all these different things, we're meant to be fruit eaters, man. You know, we don't look like lions and tigers. We look like gorillas. Gorillas are frugivores. There's nothing about our skills that say we're carnivores, hunters. If I put you in the middle of a field and it's just your hands and your feet, you have no weapons, you have no tools, you've got no fire. It's just what I put you naked, drop you naked, and you got to eat. What are you equipped? What are you equipped to eat? Think about it. So you're in this field. There's rabbits and there's all these animals. There's fruit and berries and bananas and so now you got to eat. Well, what do we have? What are we going to eat? Are you going to go catch a rabbit barehanded, sink your teeth into it and eat it raw? Because that's what carnivores do.
Depends on how hungry I am.
Right, but let me ask you this: if you see some, I was going to say watermelons. If you see some watermelons, see some bananas, see some berries, or you're going to chase a rabbit around, what sounds more appetizing? Breaking open a watermelon and eating that, or grabbing a rabbit, ripping its fur off and eating it raw? Like, what sounds tasty?
Definitely the water.
I don't know, man. I'm from the country. I've had some good ass rabbit stew before, so you know.
Yeah. But Brian, you said rabbit stew, which means it was cooked, which means it was spiced, which means you had all these other flavors in it. I'm talking about catching a rabbit with your bare hands, sinking your teeth into its jugular to kill it, and then eating it, ripping this fur off and eating it, because that's what carnivores do, bro.
Mm-hmm. I got your point.
The funny thing is, if there's any creatures that we're equipped to catch and eat, it's bugs. And I know everyone freaks out, and I'm not saying we should eat bugs. You know, I'm not about that. But if you think about it, we can catch ants, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I always go back to the law of nature, because we can go back and forth about studies and statistics, and we know at this point I can make a study tell me anything I want it to tell me, right? Whatever studies, you show me one, I'll show you the opposite. So I always go back to like nature, because nature doesn't lie. So I talk about milk like this. You know, we've been told milk's this perfect food. Is there any other animal on the planet that drinks milk after it's a baby? Milk's for babies, guys. Milk is designed for babies. Every species mother makes milk for their baby. And then once the baby is old enough to eat food, they stop drinking milk. Except one species decides to keep drinking milk its entire life. And then it's not even its own milk. They go and drink the milk of another animal altogether. And that's humans. And we wonder why we have cancer and disease. You're drinking growth hormone for cows as an adult. If milk was the perfect food. You don't think some other animal in this world would have figured it out and would still be consuming milk as an adult? We're just so smart. We're so smart, but we're the only species riddled with depression, anxiety, fear, obesity, heart disease, cancer. But we're the smartest ones. We're the smartest ones because we figured out Fruit Loops is what we're supposed to eat, right? I mean, guys, again, it's to me, it's so fucking clear. I think if you want to keep humans in this low vibrational state, you want to keep them infighting, you want to keep them slaughtering each other. Well, the easiest way to do it is feed them death every day and convince them it's good for them. Look around the world, man. We're supposed to be living in harmony with nature. Yeah, we're the top of the food chain, but we're supposed to be living in harmony with nature. Every other animal lives in harmony. Yes, there's killing, there's a food chain. But no other animal ever kills more animals than it could possibly eat. No other animals kill for fun, right? That's us. There's no like gorilla in nature that stockpiles. He's stockpiling bananas behind him, right? He's just piling up bananas, more bananas than he could ever eat in a lifetime. Just piling bananas, huge pile of bananas, and just guarding his bananas. And any other gorilla that gets close to his pile of bananas that he'll never eat all the bananas, but he will not give any of these bananas. He's guarding them with his life, right? If we found a gorilla like that in nature, we would want to study it and go, well, what's wrong with it? That's an anomaly. That's weird, right? But if a human does that with money, we put him on Time magazine and we call him Man of the Year. We're greedy. We're greedy as fuck. Look around, it's greed, right? We don't. All animals in nature. I watched it. It's funny. My aunt likes to feed the squirrels peanuts, and the crows figured it out. So now the crows start hanging out because they want some peanuts too. And I watched this man handful or two handfuls of peanuts. They don't fight over the peanuts. They each kind of take what they need. They leave two different species. They're sitting. I'm watching squirrels and crows just hanging out next to each other, and they're cool because they're like, I got my peanuts over here. You take a couple over there, and they're good. But if that was humans, they'd be beating the shit out of each other to take all the peanuts for themselves. Call it Black Friday, right? Yeah. So yeah, man, I go through life and so. To answer your question, to finish answering your question, what did that do for me? It made me take a real hard look at the things that I was taught and told as a kid and realize that my whole life has been a lie built on top of lies, built on top of lies, built on top of lies. How far back the lies go, I don't know. But what I do know is the things that we've been told now is not the truth. From our healthcare system to our education system to what we eat, all of it. It's a lie. It's all a fucking lie. And it's meant to divide us. It's meant to dehumanize us and disconnect us from our true power as humans, our source, our third eye. Connect to this, you know what I'm saying? To you call it source power, you call it God, you call it whatever you want. We're powerful beings. But when you calcify the pineal gland, and when you convince us we're supposed to be eating decayed animals as our nutrition, when you convince people that that it's just business, right? That there's no amount good enough. There's no amount of money good enough. The house is never big enough. The car's never new enough or fast enough. They need a new pair of shoes, right? That's all conditioning, man. That shit's not real. And where's it gotten us? Are we in a happy society? Are we in a happy society? Are we in a happy world? We've been given everything we need here to be living in utopia. Think about it. When you go on vacation, when you think of paradise, what's paradise? It's the part of Earth that humans haven't fucked up yet. That we haven't raped and pillaged, that we haven't knocked all the trees down and built some Walmart, right? That's when we go on vacation, we go to escape all the shit we've done. We have all the resources on this planet where everyone could eat, everyone could have, everyone could be living comfortable, happy lives as communities. But somewhere along the way, certain people took control of the knowledge, and now they want to control the rest of the people by misinforming them and lying them. Again, how do a very few group of people control 8 billion? Anyway, absolutely. I digress, guys. Sorry.
No, you.
No. Hey, go ahead. I was gonna give you the platform to say whatever you want.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Hey, look, and that segues into my next question when you say control. Let's talk about control your narrative.
Yeah.
Where you and I met, had
man.
opportunity to talk to you and get some advice from you. You could say able to watch Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews, come the father of the narrative. Where was your mindset in terms of the direction of what you wanted out of control your narrative and all the guys that had that opportunity to come out there and work with you, EC3, Adam Scher, and a lot of some of the bigger top names?
Yeah, I mean, I just, it was an interesting concept, and I was just kind of following along. Again, I was down in Mexico for a year. I was kind of completely disconnected from wrestling, but I worked with EC3, obviously in TNA, had known him, always got along with him well. Was kind of following along with what he was doing, and when I got back here to Orlando area, I just kind of reached out and said, "Hey, man, I kind of dig what you're doing, and if there's anywhere you think I could bring some value, let me know. I'd be interested." I'm trying to kind of work my way back in a little bit, and it was a cool concept. I just think it was one of those where it was never really meant to be a promotion. I don't think it was more of an idea and a concept, and so it kind of. Then you get a bunch of cooks in the kitchen, and then people start seeing things, and everybody wants a piece of it, and everyone's going different directions, and you know how it is, man. It's wrestling business. Yeah. So, listen, we caught lightning in the bottle. It was a good little run. We had a lot of fun, met a lot of cool people, did some good stuff. Those seminars that we were running, I thought we really were touching people, really diving into their motivation and who they were as human beings and not so much as pro wrestlers. And so I took a lot of value from that. And and I'll take a lot of credit for it, completely failing, because once I got on board, the old canceled Austin Aries over here, man, when they announced that I was a part of it, like fucking trended on Twitter like 4 or 5 times that day. Everyone's like losing their mind. I was like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I still move the needle, Guys, I haven't wrestled in 2 years. I still get more heat than anybody in the business. What the hell's going on? All because I don't want to listen to a bunch of strangers about shooting some experimental solution into my arm. I don't know. Everyone hates me for that. And, I don't know if you guys have kind of looked around, but I might have been right.
Yeah. I think you got a lot of flack on some of your views, man. And,
man.
And I think that's the reason why you had this, I wouldn't say reputation, but you were known to kind of rattle some cages backstage, and not always viewed favorably in the locker rooms. You know what I'm saying? But I see you now, and I'm listening to you talk, man. You have a really positive vibe and energy about you, and maybe there's been some change over the years. What do you want people to know about you as an individual, and then even your character, Austin Aries? What do you want people to see about who you are now?
Austin Aries is an asshole. Right. Austin Aries is a persona and is a character, right? Now, are there some parts of Austin Aries that come from Daniel? Sure. But, it's funny because you said what you said about the locker room is, as I've been back in these shows and doing independence and stuff, I haven't felt it. I read it and people read it, but when I'm actually there, it's the exact opposite. And Mr. Everything, your opinion, you shared locker rooms with me. You saw, I interacted, saw interactions. I never felt that coming from anybody. So I think, what we have to realize is Twitter's not real. Dirt sheets are dirt sheets. That's not real. It's not the truth, right? If it's coming on your screen, it's entertainment. And when you break down the word entertainment, entertain means control. Mente, mind. Entertainment, enter to control the mind. So we watch things, we read things, we hear things, and then we take from that and go, well, that must be true. That's reality. And it's just not. It's not reality. And so there's a lot of people that hate Austin Aries. And and for sometimes good reason, because for a lot of my career, that's what I was trying to invoke the emotion of you not liking me. I mean, that was, as a heel, my job is when I walk out the curtain, I don't want you to be indifferent. I want you to have a strong reaction. Either I love that motherfucker or fuck that guy. But anything in the middle doesn't make me money. And I think, at least for me, it's been much harder in life to make everybody like me than it is to make everybody dislike me. And then when you see when you see the world differently, when you challenge the narrative, when you challenge conventional wisdom, when you say no, that's wrong, that does ruffle feathers, because now people start questioning their belief system. And now when you make people start questioning their belief system, that makes them uncomfortable. They start pushing back on you, right? And so, I think there's a part of that. Now, that being said, I'm an emotional cat, man. I'm a passionate, emotional guy. That has worked in my favor and made me a very good performer. And sometimes that's worked against me in the back and dealing with the ups and downs of pro wrestling. Sometimes letting my emotion get the better of me, right? Sometimes let my passion get the better of me, and maybe not handling situations as diplomatically as I could have. But that's part of my growth process. I'm not going to apologize for being fiery. I'm not going to apologize for being passionate. I'm not going to apologize for giving a fuck. Because that is, you ask, like, what do you want people to know about me? One of my favorite sayings is, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And one thing about me is I passionately care about what's happening around me, not just to me, but to the people around me too. And I don't want to change that because I think that's a beautiful quality to have, but it can get you in trouble sometimes. Because, this wrestling business hasn't always been run by the most upstanding, ethical, people full of integrity. I think we can all, if we look back in the history, I think we can all agree on that this can be a seedy and a shady business. If I'm the guy who pushed back against that and said, no, that's not right, no, that's bullshit, does that make me the bad guy? If I was saying, no, we shouldn't treat people like that, we shouldn't take advantage of people like that, we should pay for their health insurance, we should make sure they get a bed to sleep in tonight instead of packing 12 guys into a hotel room, does that make me the bad guy? If you're the villain, if you're being positioned in the villain in an industry full of villains,
real villains, yeah.
Maybe it's because I pushed against it and said, "No, man, this shit ain't right. We need to do better." And now maybe I didn't always do it the right way. Maybe I wasn't always diplomatic, right? Maybe the passion got the best of me. Maybe the fire got the best of me. Absolutely, I'll own that. But I know at my core, like, Daniel is a good person, genuinely cares about people, what's going on around him, wants to help people in the wrestling industry, wants to help people outside the wrestling industry. And will speak truth to power, will stand strong in the face of adversity, and will stand up for what he believes in, right or wrong, and so with that, you're going to make a lot of friends. You're going to make some enemies too. And you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I definitely agree with
that. Real quick question. You talk about in terms of helping people in the industry. Are you currently training anyone, or would you be open to doing any type of trainings, like running a school for yourself?
Right. I've read a couple schools. I don't know that I have interest in that. But a concept I have been developing, and I haven't rolled out yet, but I might be doing next year, is kind of doing more of an agency. I feel like there's really not much representation for wrestlers in the business. You've got Barry Bloom, you have Bill Behrens, and then that's really about it. And so I think that I could be more beneficial to take guys who've already been trained and more, looking for guys that I think have real potential, guys and girls who have real potential that want to make money in the business, and saying, cool, let me put you under my agency. Let me help finish you. Let me help you in these areas to take you to the next level. Let me help use my contacts, my knowledge, my experience maybe be able to negotiate with promoters, because I'm not afraid to tell the guy, no, that's wrong. No, we're not going to do that. Right. It's a landmine, dude. You know, it's a landmine trying to navigate this and deal with promoters and money and this and that. And where do you get good training? And, you know, so that would interest me more than running a school, because running a school, the problem with the school is now I'm focused on, I got to get another student. Oh, I need more students. Only way I make money is I need more students. So now I'm running a fast food joint. More students. So now I'm more focused on more students than about helping the people I have. But in my concept, if I'm working off a percentage and you're my client, I'm focused on you making money, because when you make money, I make money. It's not about getting another client. It's about, I want Mr. Everything to get $1 million contract with WWE, because I'm going to get my 10% and then I get paid. And I think that's missing in wrestling. I think it's missing in wrestling. And I think that I'm a guy that's uniquely qualified to do it, because one thing is, everybody knows Austin Aries is a straight shooter, and you're not going to bullshit me. And I think that's good quality to have as far as trying to lead other people and try to help them navigate this world of pro wrestling.
So somebody hand me a pen real quick. I need a pen.
Yeah.
I like that. And I do appreciate you saying that. And really quick, I want to introduce you to our other guest that we have up here. Other co-hosts. We have Chef Showtime. He's our resident chef. He does all the cooking. He's amazing.
Oh man,
in terms of
sorry, bro.
And
sorry about my whole rant on food, man. It's all good.
You're good.
You're like, oh,
right
I'm rethinking my whole life choices. Chefs up there like, oh man, I gotta rethink my whole life choices right now. Like,
I can't cook bacon no more.
Animals aren't food. Everyone's like, is it so hard? Like, isn't it hard? I was like, is it hard not to eat your cat? But you get home, you're like, some barbecue sauce on that might be good.
I don't know. I've had some Chinese food that I looked at and I was like, I don't know if that's chicken or not. Hey, we also have fellow wrestler Stephen Meeks in the building. Stephen, do you have a question for our esteemed guest?
I've just been kind of taking notes and just enjoying the conversation.
This guy's getting a free seminar here, Steven.
Yeah. We met before actually at a CYN event in Goldsboro, North Carolina with Mr. Everything. And I was a big fit. Like, I had a very pleasant Austin Aries interaction, and I enjoyed my time in the CYN locker room, so I can attest to that. And
cool, man.
I just really resonated with your story, man. Coming from like kind of middle class living and just kind of not even really wanting better, but just wanting different. You know what I'm saying? I think that was really cool. I love the like you said, just free seminar. I think in like my short time, like I just really agree with your point of view, and like agree to the statement of like doing the drives, and like, you know, I'm far from being like the best in my area, but like I like to travel and learn from other people, and I think wrestling is kind of this weird like multiverse, and there's different flavors of ice cream regionally, you know, that are more over, and it's cool to like, you know, fortunately I've been able to go to wrestle in West Virginia and North Carolina and Colorado, and I've noticed like, you know, like the culture, there's cultural differences, and you know, like yada yada yada. But yeah, I like you said, I'm just here for the free seminar, and I'm thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, man, for sure.
I have a question.
Yeah,
if you had one last match with anybody from the past or present, any type of match, who would it be?
It's a tough one. You know, my answer usually is it doesn't matter as long as Bobby Heenan is my manager.
Okay.
Yeah, because Heenan is one of my favorite performers. You know, very underrated, I think. Man, I'm one of those guys that doesn't have like a favorite anything. I mean, I could probably name like 10 guys if I could have, you know, Eddie Guerrero. That'd be awesome. But wrestling Mr. McMahon would be awesome too. Like, is there been a better character in the last, 30 years of wrestling than Mr. McMahon? Like, a better heel, right? You know, Ric Flair, I grew up watching the guy, right? I mean, I could give you so many answers, it's just, it's so hard to pick one, It is funny though. I was thinking it was something popped up on my phone about all the different final battles, and I was thinking, man, next year, 2024, it's gonna be 20 years since Final Battle 2004, and man, how cool would it be to do me and Samoa Joe Final Battle Ring of Honor 2024, 20 years after the fact, maybe for the title.
Nice.
I mean, I think there'd be some interest in that match.
Take my money.
Right? Yeah. Well,
take my money now.
Listen, I don't know. I don't know if Tony Khan's taking my telephone calls or not. So you guys got to do the work here. We need the fans to do the work. Yeah.
God. Well, in that same vein, you had a stint in WWE.
Yeah.
And you were in the cruiserweight division, and it was interesting to see your views on how to make the product that and team that you're with to be able to elevate them, right? You mentioned that a little bit earlier with the early Ring of Honor, maybe the X division, and then the cruiserweight division for WWE. What does it mean to kind of elevate a promotion and try to fight for something and fight for the guys in the locker room that you want to elevate and bring up when you might not be getting as many eyes as the other talent?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you
rephrase it? So for instance, you really advocated for bringing up like the cruiserweight division, right? Yeah. And wanted to have more eyes on what you guys were doing for the cruiserweight division at the time. Can you talk about that struggle of trying to convince the higher ups that, hey, we need more TV time so we can show what we can really do?
Yeah, well, so Brian, it wasn't me wanting to do that. I was basing it off of what they were telling us, right?
Okay.
And what they told us is, we want to do this 205 Live concept. We want it to be its own brand. We want it to be touring. We want it to be its own entity that can sell out, sell house shows and do this. Okay, great. If that's what you really want to do and you really mean that, well, then here's things that we can do that will help accomplish that. One of them is, hey, how about have some merchandise for the 205 Live guys? That would be helpful. How about don't put one of the best matches on WrestleMania on the pre-show? Not because I give a fuck, because I walked out in front of 70,000 people either way. But if you want to elevate the 205 Live brand, then putting our match on the main card does that. So it wasn't about me or it wasn't about Neville. It was about, if you want to elevate the brand, then put us in a place in the card that says, oh, this is valuable, because fans are smart, right?
Right.
If you put so where you put us positions on a card will matter to the fan. It will tell them how important we are or are not. Just little things like that, man. I thought intermingling more with some of the other we were doing the Raw shows. Well, why not? I had an idea of just like passing the hallway, like with Chris Jericho. And he looks at my silly fuzzy jacket, and he's got his dumb jacket on. We just kind of cross in the back. We just kind of stop and look at each other. And he's like, "Nice jacket, man." I'm like, "Yeah, you got a good jacket." And that's it. Because oh my God, Chris, it's like we existed. Like it was like we were on Raw, but we existed in a different universe where none of the actual Raw stars on Raw ever saw us, or we never interacted with them. So I just thought it was like little things like that. If you want to do what you say you want to do, then here's things we can do. It wasn't about for me or me wanting to do it. I was happy to, hey, what do you guys want to do? Well, then here's how I think we can do that. Right. It's just small things like that, Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. So look, what's next for Austin Aries, man? What's next for you in general? What are some of the projects and things that you're working on?
Oh man. Well, I did 3 months in India earlier this year, which was a great experience. Yeah, it was awesome. As far as wrestling, I'm not sure. It's so hard, man. Like what's going to happen in the world in the next year or two, right? Like I think 2024 could bring some things that are going to be a little unpleasant for us. We've had our bit of a reprieve in our break from 2020 shenanigans, and now I think they're ready to ramp up phase 2 of their plan, right? And so
talk about it.
So I think there's that. as far as just wrestling shows, let's see. January, I will be going back to Vancouver, up there for a show. I'm heading back to Utah in February, and I guess I could break the news here a little bit, but I'll be actually putting on my first wrestling show February 3rd in Florida. I will be co-promoting with someone else. It's called Pro Wrestling Resurrected. And I'm excited to kind of step on the other side of the curtain and try my hand. I've obviously had a lot of opinions over my years on the right way to do things. And so now here's my opportunity to try to do that. And, you know, I'm just going to focus on putting on a good, solid night of pro wrestling entertainment. I'm not worried about, at least initially, I'm not worried about streaming. I'm not worried about, you know, the internet fan base. I'm worried about putting on a great show for Crestview, Florida, and that market, and we'll go from there. And so that'll be February 3rd. So we'll be gearing up for that. And then I think we're going to be run shows like about every 6 weeks. I'd like to do, we have the first 3 locked in so we can do some storyline stuff and just kind of dip my toe in that, you know, as I'm getting a little up there in age, I got to be a little mindful of the wear and tear on my body. You know, and so starting to do some things behind the scenes interests me. It was a good opportunity. And so, getting excited for that, and then who knows, man? Who knows? You know, I'm always looking for good opportunities. I'm really trying to find good indie promotions around the country, a good like half dozen that I can kind of be on a loop. I don't like doing one-offs. You know, the money grabs. You go in, you make a bunch of money, and you don't come back for 3-4 years. It's fine, but I want to do something where I can actually work programs with some guys, help elevate guys, help, you know, teach some of the younger men and women in the locker room. And then actually like pass the torch to whoever their guy is as I'm on my way out the door. I think there's just more value in using me that way, you know, and so that interests me. So I found a couple of good spots. I've been doing some stuff in Panama Beach with XIW. You know, I got this stuff out in Utah, and you know, just looking for some good promotions to kind of call home. And then, you know, always keep my ears open to any bigger opportunities as far as, you know, national promotions, television, you know, companies, things like that. And if the fit's right, then, you know, who knows what could happen.
So are you saying that we might possibly, if there's a call, see you in a bigger promotion such as AEW or WWE? If the phone rings, will you pick up?
Always pick up the phone if it rings. Yeah. You always have the conversation. You know, I just, you know, the fit would have to be right. I'll be honest. I haven't been super motivated to get back to that schedule. I've been enjoying my life, man. And I think one thing is, you know, sometimes we get so caught up on the destination that we're trying to reach. You know, the place we're trying to get to is we don't enjoy the journey of how we're getting there. And so, you know, the last couple of years, you know, after the COVID debacle, I'll call it, and seeing how quickly things can change and seeing how quickly they can put their thumb on you and say, no, you don't travel. No, you don't do this. No, you don't open your business. No, you don't go outside. Right. I had a shift in my mentality. What am I focused on? See, there's no guarantee I'm going to reach retirement age. Right. There's no guarantee any of us reach retirement age. So I've been trying to find that balance of, I want to enjoy today, man. I want to, like, when I wake up in the morning, my job first and foremost, enjoy today, because it could be the last day. It really could be. And so that's the last couple of years how I've been living my life. I've been doing a lot of traveling, spent a year in Mexico. I spent time in Spain. I was in Saudi Arabia for a little bit. I actually did some wrestling there. You know, I spent 3 months in India. I've been trying to just enjoy my life. I got a Sprinter van now, you know, got Dan in the van traveling around the country. You know, it's, you know, I got it set up so I can camp in there if I want to. So yeah, man, let's bring the show on the road. You know, I'm developing some business ideas for next year. It's a concept I've had for a while. It's called Hungry to Change. I'm going to put a program together to help teach people how to become better consumers when it comes to their food, how to buy higher quality food for less money. Right. And it's something that I can actually bring to people's homes. So in other words, you can hire Austin Aries. Well, not Austin Aries, because you don't want that guy coming in your home. You'll be able to hire Daniel to come to your home to give you a consultation to understand, like, you know, you want to change your diet, you want to get healthier. Okay, good. I'll walk you through the steps of how we do it. And I'm going to show you how you can save money while you do it. It's about being a savvy shopper. It's about understanding how the system is set up for you to fail and then how you can circumvent that. Guys, as the consumer, we hold the power, okay? The most powerful vote that we make is not at any ballot box for any presidential candidate. It's the vote you make with your dollar bill. Every time you pull your dollar bill out and you pay for something, you voted, yes, that's good. So we got to learn how to stop voting for the shit that's making us sick, that's making us stupid, that's making us brainwashed. We got to shut that shit out, and we need to take the power back as consumers, become smart, savvy consumers, because you are what you consume. And consumption to me is broken down in 3 areas. First, consumption is the things we put in our body, the things we eat, the things we put on our skin, under our arms, we brush our teeth with, we wash our hair. These things matter. They're toxic. They're full of chemicals. They're giving people cancer, ADD, ADHD, all these things. Look into it. So that's important to become a high-level elite consumer when it comes to that. The second thing we consume is who and what we listen to. Who do you trust? Who do you believe? Right? That consumption matters. What kind of music you listen to, what kind of entertainment you watch, who you listen to, who you believe, who you trust. And then the third part of consumption is just stuff, the stuff we buy, right? Products, you know? So when we learn to level up and become elite level consumers, we can hack the system. Instead of being taken advantage of, we're going to take advantage of the system to make us healthier, to make us happier, to put more money in our pocket. I've been spending my last 2 decades really, really diving into this. It fires me up. And I want to now bring this information to everybody else so they can do the same things. And so that really is, if you can tell, I love wrestling. Wrestling's been very good to me. But this shit I'm passionate about because I've seen the change. Man, I've had a fan come up to me. He told me, you know what? I went vegan because of you. You're my favorite wrestler. I lost 200 pounds by changing his diet and lifestyle. And I realized the impact I can have. And I say this, man, and this is what I want to do with my wrestling promotion too, right? So you got to think about what we do as entertainers. People come in, they pay us money to forget about their problems for 3 hours, right? That's what we want. We want to be distracted. We want to forget about the job or the wife or the whatever, the health problem. So for 3 hours, I give you my money so I can disconnect and forget about all the problems in my life. And when I leave, I have all the same fucking problems I had when I walked in. And when I was there, I ate pizza, I was drinking soda, I had fucking candy. I exasperated the problems that I walked in with. And the promoter's like, great, because now next month you're going to come to forget about your problems again. Well, fuck that, man. I don't want to help people forget about problems. I want to help people solve problems. That's what I want to do. I want to give people tools and information so that when they leave my show, that they're better off on Monday morning. They got a new tool in their pocket. Oh, I learned some breath. I learned this concept of breath work and how my breath can regulate my emotions. And I don't need it. I can get off those depression pills or the anxiety pills because I learned that my breathing can do that for me. Right? Oh, yeah. Austin Aries was talking about meditation. He actually had everybody meditate at his fucking wrestling show for 5 minutes. And now I use that. Now I got my temper starting to get under control. Right? Oh, when I went to the Austin Aries show, we was eating this organic, all healthy food. And now I got 3 or 4 new food ideas I didn't know existed. See, it's great to help people forget about problems. But this platform as entertainers, man, could be so much more powerful if we give people and want to actually help them solve problems. I want to help people get better. So that's really where I'm at, man. And that's what I want to be doing. And that's what I plan on doing next year and moving forward.
Oh man, I'm happy that you said that because that's the whole platform of this show, right? We talk about real life and the character of people and how to better yourself, and we give motivation, but we do it under the guise of wrestling, and wrestling entertainment. And I was telling Stephen Meeks, that we kind of disguise our show as a way of being able to give information in a sense of way. So stuff like this we love because it's teaching people how to live a better life, and it's not just about wrestling. It's about bettering yourself as a person and being wise about what you spend time on and what you spend time doing. Yes, listen, we have this thing on the show that we do each and every week. Okay. It's a way for us to give motivation. It's a way for us to give a word for somebody for people to be able to get through their life. And you've dropped a lot of jewels and gems throughout this whole entire podcast, man. So it's kind of hard for you it's hard for me to say, hey, go ahead, pick this one thing and make this your word or your final word or word of motivation. But if you can give the people, out of everything that you said tonight, if you can give people a word of motivation, a word to get through a hard time in their life, what is your final word?
You're more powerful than you know. Believe and trust in yourself. Stop being fooled into thinking that you need to outsource everything in your life to people who don't care about you. You're enough. You know, it's this theme I keep asking people. When do we start listening to strangers? Why we listen to strangers? And what do you mean by strangers? Politicians are strangers. Celebrities are strangers. The World Health Organization is a bunch of strangers. The CDC is strangers. The FDA is strangers. Fox News is strangers. CNN is strange. Those are all strangers. Dr. Fauci's a stranger. Why am I listening to strangers? No questions asked. Guys, I think the biggest conspiracy theory that people hold is that the people they listen to care about them and would never lie to them. Now that's a conspiracy theory. That's some bullshit, right? Stop listening to strangers and start listening to yourself. Stop looking for the answers externally and start finding them inside here and inside here.
Oh, man. Love that. That is a final word from the one and only Austin Aries. Thank you, sir, for that.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Let's go around the room real quick to get a final word, man. Let's go to Mr. Stephen Meeks, man. Stephen Meeks, the Meek Man.
The Meek Man.
Do you have a final word or word of motivation for the beautiful people?
I wanted to kind of end this, like, highlight a couple things. Like, I really like what Daniel had said about like how CYN like really gave back to people, because I feel like I personally like can attest to that. Like, I attended the CYN AML show and I attended a Scraps event, and I felt like I really grew as a performer, and I feel like EC3 really took the time to like speak words of encouragement into me. And it's like he didn't have to do that, you know. I could have just paid like whatever, or like I think the Scraps events were free actually, but it's like he could have just charged me my $30 and, you know, ran a couple drills or whatever. But I feel like he really like took his time to pour into me, so to speak, you know. So I just wanted to say that I'm thankful for like CYN and what it was and all that good stuff. You know, I agree with you there. And like, just to kind of give like a little bit of backstory, like when I had attended my first CYN AML event, I was actually like living in my car at that moment. So now to do this in my new home, like nice. I lived there for about a year now, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is kind of like a really full circle moment, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, awesome. I'm kind of just now putting it together, and I just think this is really cool. And, you know, it's like, if I could give a word of encouragement, it would be that if you're in a tough season right now, you know, I'll just say it'll be funny later. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's probably not too funny now. Like, I know you're probably getting your ass kicked, but it'll get funny. Like, you know, I think about like the time that I lived in my car, and it's like, well, I got to attend a lot of cool wrestling events, and I wasn't tied down to anything, and I was able to put it together enough to look professional and be a part of the CYN AML locker room, and you know, like all that good stuff. And I think I love like your mission statement. A big part of the Stephen Meeks brand is loving people through wrestling, and like in the ring and as a character, it's like it's me trying to hug my opponent, or like it's like the hippie aesthetic or whatever. But like I really, you know, I love the Lord. I know that that's kind of a hot take. Like, I love Jesus. I'm super thankful for everything that he's done for me in my life. So it's like, I just think this was a really fun conversation. And yeah, if I could, my word of encouragement is it'll be funny. I promise. You'll laugh about this. Like, it's.
I like it.
I dig that. Words coming from the Meek Master, the Meek Man, Stephen Meeks. Oh man, Chef Showtime. Man, do you have a final word of motivation, or words to the crew?
Now, I don't have no final words or motivation. I have a final question for Mr. Aries. For somebody that's starting to eat better, eat healthier, to go to that like the vegan or vegetarian lifestyle, what will be the go-to meal? Asking from the, resident chef.
Oh, man, this might be a better question to take offline because I could probably do a whole hour on this. It really is, listen, I think that anyone who's trying to transition their diet and their lifestyle, I always say to set yourself up for success. You're not going to go from eating ribs to kale salads overnight, right? There's a natural progression. Your taste buds have to adapt. They have to change. I've really gotten away from a lot of like the fake burgers, like the Beyond Burgers or things like that. But those are great bridges to go from where you were to where you want to be. It's not the end game. You don't want to be eating processed garbage, processed food, right? So that's not where we want to end up, but it helps bridge you across there. What do you like to eat, man? What do you eat now? Like, what's your go-to? What's your go-to? Like, what's your go-to dish?
My go-to dish is baked chicken.
Okay. So you like barbecue?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just had some barbecue jackfruit, right? It tastes like pulled pork.
Okay.
You wouldn't even know the difference. So you use jackfruit, a meat, barbecue jackfruit. You got to remember, it's about flavor profile, right? So I just did some buffalo cauliflower wings in my air fryer. So instead of using chicken wings, because really when we want chicken wings, we don't want the chicken or wing. We want the buffalo sauce, man. That's the flavor. That's what we're craving. I want the buffalo sauce. You put on cauliflower, do buffalo cauliflower. So you got to think. So as a chef, you know it's about building flavor profiles, right? So bacon's a very easy flavor to replicate. Liquid smoke, soy sauce, maple syrup. Boom, there's your marinade. Now you can marinate something in that and get that bacon flavor, right? So it's about building your flavors that you usually would build on a dead carcass, and then just building those flavors on something that didn't get slaughtered, and have its life, ripped from it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we're very lucky. Everyone here that's watching this or on this, we're very lucky to live in a time and a place where we don't have to eat animals. There's some places in the world right now, and that's not an option for some people. All of us here have the capability. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just takes a little bit of deprogramming and then reprogramming with new information.
Oh man!
But yeah, man. Hey, bro, you can feel free after this or in the following days, weeks, bro. You DM me on the Instagram, and we'll get in depth, and I'll help you out even more if you got some other specific questions, bro.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, Austin Aries meal plan is in the works or something.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it for people. Yeah.
I dig that, man.
Yeah. So my concept, and real quick, is I want to divide the foods into a color system, right? Make it easy for people. You think your stoplight, green, yellow, red, right? And you kind of break foods down into one of those three categories. Green means, that's the stuff you want to eat that. The yellow stuff's like, all right, be a little cautious with this. The red's like, maybe you should stop and think about this. And then you got the black stuff, which is like, you're just trying to kill yourself. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. And so I'm gonna in my opinion, in my studies, my estimation, I want to start breaking the foods down in these three categories so I can give this guide to people and they can look and have a general idea. Oh shit, I've been eating lots of red and black. And it's like, let's move it to the green and the yellow and start moving our diet this way, a little bit at a time. Yeah.
I like that. So just eat green and yellow stuff. Keep it.
That's it,
keep
man.
it simple.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Everything, do you have a final word or a final question for the beautiful people?
My final word is not for the beautiful people. My final word is for the beautiful man, Austin Aries. Austin Aries, you talk about not listening to strangers. Well, listen to Mr. Everything for one moment. This is where I want to give you an opportunity to make an impact by controlling your narrative and stepping in the ring of honor with Mr. Everything, Victor Andrews. You don't have to be 205, but you do have to be able to bring everything that Austin Aries has ever stood for in terms of stepping in the ring with any competitor he has ever stepped in the ring with. But this time, this moment, this chance, you get an opportunity to step in the ring with somebody different, somebody new, the one and only Mr. Everything. If you accept this challenge, Mr. Austin Aries, by the end of the night, I only want you to do one thing and one thing only. And I say my name loud and proud and with conviction. You don't want me to tell you the rest.
I was about to say the rest. I wanted to see if you were brave enough to say it.
This motherfucker just cut a promo on me.
He just cut a promo.
I almost feel like I have to retort, don't I?
Go ahead. That's their promos. Let's go. Go at them.
But not Daniel. You need Austin Aries to cut this motherfucking promo, right?
I'm going.
We need the God of War, Austin Aries, in this thing right now. Go ahead.
Mr. Everything, right? Well, in my history, my friend, if you're everything, you're nothing. And that's what you are. You're Mr. Nothing. But you want to challenge me? You want to step in the ring with me? What makes you think you have even earned the level of status it takes to get in the ring with a 5-time world champion? You think that you're Mr. Everything. Well, I'm Mr. Anything. You know what that means? When you step in the ring with me, I will do anything to win. Which is why I'm a 5-time world champion and you're a no-time world champion. Remember that.
Woo! Woo! Shots fired! Shots fired! Pew, pew, baby! Took him to promo school, Jack. Took him to school. Oh man. Hey man, we put that on the whole of best damn promos. Oh man. Well,
absolutely. Listen. You have made interviews so amazing, so much fun. You are now a part of our esteemed alumni of superstars we've had on the show. We've had R-Truth, we've had Ron Simmons, we've had Ricky Morton, and the list goes on and on and on. EC3.
Yes,
now you are now a part of the best damn clip. You are welcome to come back anytime. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Oh man. Well, listen. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Oh, if you're still using that X thing, it's at Austin Aries. I do not have a blue check mark anymore because I refuse to pay for one. And Instagram, which I use a little more often, would be at Austin Healy Aries. And that's really where I'm at mostly on the social media. If you're interested in any of my book, Food Fight, you can still find copies of those at my Pro Wrestling Tees store. And or you can always drop me a DM. And that's where I'm at.
Oh man, so you guys make sure you go follow the one and only Austin Aries on social media. Chef Showtime, drop your social media, sir. Where can people find you?
On Twitter, I don't got the blue check either. You can find me Showtime. You can find me on Facebook, Dante Carter, Twitch, Dante Carter, or Showtime. That's where you can find me.
Oh man, y'all make sure y'all go follow Chef Showtime on his social medias. Mr. Everything, what you guys going on and where can the people find you?
Oh man, so real quick, I got a show coming up tomorrow night in West Virginia, and then I would be wrestling in Arkansas, in Sherwood, Arkansas, for Lit Wrestling on Saturday. And of course, you guys can follow me on the TikTok, official _ Mr. Everything, or on Instagram, Roosevelt Conyers LLC. If you want to hit all my social media stuff, just go straight to my website, RooseveltConyersLLC.com. And real quick, Austin, I can help you in any way. Let me know. I can connect you with some promoters. I got a promoter out in Charlotte as well, ready to bring you in if you like. I'll connect you with him. I'll send your email to him. I don't work with nobody that's not gonna really take care of you. So I'm not gonna send you no jigaboos and no janky promoters. So anybody, I appreciate it. If it's okay with you, I'll pass your email on to a couple of companies, and then you guys can kind of coincide from there.
Great, and then we'll get to have this match, or maybe we'll form a team, Mr. Everything and Mr. Anything. Everything and anything.
Everything and anything. Oh,
everything and anything under the sun. Here we are. Yeah.
Take my money now. Take my money now.
Just so you know, I'm Robert Gibson. You're Ricky Morton, which means I stand on the apron the whole match until you tag me. One move, double drop kick, we're out of there. All right, kid? All
right. Let's rock and roll, baby.
Oh, man. So y'all make sure y'all go follow Mr. Everything and everything that he got going on. I would love to see that tag team, man. That's money right there all day, every day. Put a stamp on it. Stephen Meeks, the king of the meat freaks. Welcome, people. Find you and what you got going on.
I'm on Instagram at Meeks Wrestles. Everywhere else is at Meeks Wrestling, and then you got YouTube, which is Stephen Meeks. So yeah, just put the psychedelic sweetheart if you have a hard time spelling it. PSYCHEDELIC sweetheart. On the gimmicks and whatnot. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I had fun.
Oh man, you are welcome anytime, Meek Man. Well, listen. Thank you guys for joining us. You can. My name is Brian Renegade. You can follow me on all platforms at Brian Renegade. Got a lot of things going on. If you're into food and you want to know about the Phoenix area, Phoenix, Arizona, we got a website called Phoenix Foodies Magazine. You go on there, check out all kind of food. We got healthy options for you. Top restaurants in the city. Best places to take your girl on a date night. All kind of stuff. So go to phoenixfoodies.com and check us out over there. Also, you can go to blueheartsforautism.com if you want to support a good cause. Give to Blue Hearts, and we help families that have autism, and yeah, you can get them all kind of equipment, resources, all that jazz. So go to www.blueheartsforautism.com if you want to support a good cause. And then if you are in Eastern North Carolina and you need somebody to talk to, we have mental health services down in Eastern North Carolina, so you can go to straightwalknc.com and get yourself some help if you need somebody to talk to, or if you just need just a different point of view on some things that you might want to change in your life. If you don't have a personal guru like Austin Aries, you know what I'm saying? Go to straightwalknc.com. And if you do want to check out more of what our guest Austin Aries, he was dropping jewels tonight, fellas. Did you guys? I love that, man. You were dropping jewels on us, brother, and the world needed to hear that. So thank God that you came by and dropped some jewels for the crew, man. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and you are welcome back anytime on the show.
Let's do it again. I had a lot of fun with you guys. Yeah, let's do it again. All right.
Let's do it again, damn it. Oh, man. You can follow us on all our platforms at the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. We're on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible. Wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to the Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. I don't know if you guys know this, fellas, but now we're at 3.1 million impressions online. So People love to watch the replays of Best Damn Wrestling Podcast and love our guests like the esteemed Austin Aries on this thing. Beautiful people, we can't hold you no longer. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Stephen Meeks. Thank you, Austin Aries, for joining us on this podcast, man. Beautiful people, we will see you next week on the next Best Damn Wrestling Podcast. Beautiful people, we bid you. Boy, all my stuff is all over the place. We bid you. Do. We bid you.